Welcome to Homework Lib.
To determine if there is sufficient evidence to conclude that more than 2.6% of the drug users experience flu-like symptoms as a side effect, we can perform a hypothesis test. The null hypothesis would be that the proportion of patients experiencing flu-like symptoms is less than or equal to 2.6%. The alternative hypothesis is that the proportion of patients experiencing flu-like symptoms is greater than 2.6%. Given that 6% of patients taking competing drugs complain of flu-like symptoms, we can use this as an estimate for the proportion. The formula to calculate the test statistic for comparing a sample proportion to a known proportion is the difference between the sample and the hypothesized proportion over the standard error. Now, the standard error can be calculated as the hypothesized proportion times 1 minus the hypothesized proportion over the square root of the sample size. And I'm sorry, not 0.06, 0.026. But we're actually, for the standard error, going to do the hypothesize over 888. Okay, so let me calculate that quickly. This is going to be 0.0053 for the standard error. The sample proportion is going to be the 26 out of 888, which is 0.0293. The degrees of freedom is going to be 1 less than the sample size. And we can find the critical value associated with a one-tailed test, since this is one-directional, being greater than, with 887 degrees of freedom with a significance of 0.1. And consulting a t-distribution table, the critical value is 1.645. And since the test statistic is less than the critical value, let me calculate the test statistic here. The test statistic is going to be our calculated minus our hypothesized over the standard error. Know where that went, but our t-value is 0.6179, 618. And since our test statistic is less than our critical value of 1.645, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. So, to fill in some of your blanks, because n times p naught times 1 minus p naught would be equal to 888 times 0.026 times 1 minus 0.026, which is 22.48. So that is greater than 10. We're going to one decimal place. So say 22.5. And that's greater than 10. The sample size is, I'm going to guess the next part is less than, but I'm not quite sure. I don't see the options. 5% of the population size in the sample satisfies the requirements for the hypothesis that is not satisfied, because the hypothesis was not. So based on your options, that's kind of how you would navigate the rest of those.